Welcome in. So the doors to self-centered are officially open. So self-centered is a 3-month journey of growth where you come in with me starting in February, and it is where you trust yourself first. So 3 months of growth. Hello for those coming on. Welcome. If you haven't met me yet, I am Cara West. I am a contemporary love coach and a sex witch. Which only means, look, this is what that means. Hello. I use my body to get in touch with my inner knowledge and my inner knowing, and I acknowledge that I am not just a mind, I have a whole body. They're not separate, they're joined. I get everything I need from within myself. That's what sex witch means to me. That I enjoy my whole body, my whole being, not just a mind, not just a body, a joined situation. So hello. So the doors to self-centered are now open. Self-centered is a journey we're starting in February. It's a 3-month journey of growth where you come in and learn how to trust yourself. So I guide women into trusting themselves so that they can create the freedom they desire in their relationships. The freedom to make their own decisions, the freedom to exist in relationship and not lose themselves, the freedom to trust themselves first, the freedom to be you. And the beautiful thing about being you is that you don't have to do anything. It's not called just do yourself. It's called just be yourself. Doing yourself something else entirely. But to be you, you only have to be. There's nothing else you have to do. So in self-centered, 3-month journey of growth with me, we locate the freedom within you so that you can create the long-term relationship that helps you feel free, that gives you everything you desire, and still hold on to yourself. Because to create the relationship of your dreams, whether you're already in one or not, it only takes one person. You. That's it. When we wait for our partners to show up, again, whether they're showing up because they're here already or they're showing up from the universe because we haven't met them yet. When we wait for our partners to show up so that we get the relationship we want, that's putting the responsibility onto them. So self-centered is about self-responsibility. And we can create the relationship of our dreams just on our own. It only takes one person to grow, and that's you. And look, here's what it takes. So self-centered is a one-on-one journey. You and me, 1 hour every week for 3 months. It's not just information. There is no information I hold or the universe holds for you that's going to get you what you want. We live in the information age. If information alone was going to get you what you want, you would have it already. There is no shortage. You have a device at your fingertips every single waking moment of every single day where you can find the information you need to get what you want. Information doesn't do it. I don't just give you information, which I have. I have lots of embodied information I can share with you that will help you on your way. But it's not just going to take information alone. There is no information you need outside of yourself. The information you need is inside yourself. So it's a continuous process of turning around and looking at ourselves to see what information we need to clear the blocks that stop us from accessing that information already. So 3 months, one-on-one. I don't just send you off here's the information, go out and do it yourself. No, we do it together. I don't know about you, but I'm so done just watching videos and doing homework and then feels like school. I don't want to be in school anymore. I want to live. I want to experience. And if we don't take the time to step out of the learning environment and give our bodies the lived experience of what it feels like to get what we want, our bodies don't know. Your body doesn't know anything until you take the time to show it. This is what it feels to love. This is what it feels to accept. This is what self-worth feels like. I can feel it now. And then you call it in. Call it in. We're energetic beings. Everything is perfect. You don't need to do anything to be, you just need to be. So what does self-centered mean? It means be... I'm laughing because we've made this such a dirty word. It means being truly selfish. And I get it. I get that we have some like, oh, maybe some twings and some pings and some like, should we really be encouraging people to be selfish? Yes! Because nobody's going to take care of you if you don't take care of yourself, and you're the only person that can do that. And I know that when we say like, oh, let's be selfish, we picture the worst case scenario and we push really hard. It's like if we have this fear that if we give ourselves the freedom to do whatever we want, we're just gonna lie in our bed and eat popcorn and watch Netflix. You're not actually gonna do that. If you actually gave yourself the freedom to do that, you would do it for maybe a day, maybe 2, and you'd be like, oh, this kind of lost its edge because I'm giving myself the freedom to do it. Let's do something else. Being selfish is the same. When we give ourselves the freedom to be selfish, and look, ish in every other sense of the word means like something a little bit, like, oh, I'll be there at 1-ish. It doesn't mean exact. It doesn't mean like pinpoint. It means like around the thing, So selfish is self-centered. It's taking care of ourselves. It's acknowledging that we have all the information we need inside ourselves. And we also trust that in doing so, we're not gonna push away other people. We're not gonna do harm to other people because we see them through the same lens we see ourselves. So when we take care of ourselves, we automatically take care of them too in the most beautiful way possible. So being self-centered, there's a whole journey of self to go on. And look, I'll pop the link in the comments. Ooh, can I do that? Did I save the thing? Nope, didn't work. Okay, can't pop the link in the comments. I'll pop it in the comments after this. Can't pop it there right now. So sorry. Okay. So the whole journey of self. So self-centered, 3-month journey of growth with me. Find the freedom you desire in relationships. And all the different aspects of self we uncover. Self-acceptance. Let's talk about self-acceptance, hey? It's a big topic right now. And we've all got our heads around it enough. I think we all understand self-acceptance enough. Self-acceptance being, okay, I can accept myself for having this type of thing that maybe I don't love. Let's talk let's say you don't like your nose. For the record, I love my nose. It's so pointy, but let's say I didn't. Let's say I've looked at everyone else with not pointy noses my whole life. Like, just wish my nose was like theirs. Right? So we all understand that, okay, the first level of self-acceptance is, okay, it's okay that I want a different nose. That's totally fine. And then we get to go deeper. So self-acceptance, level 1, that we've all understood, accept ourselves for wanting something different. And then we get to go deeper. The next level of self-acceptance is accepting the part of ourselves that wishes it were any different. We don't do that. Have you done that? If there's part of you that you don't like, have you accepted yourself for that part and accepted the part of you that wants it to be any different? Can you imagine? Let's do it right now. Think of one part of yourself you would change. I want a different hair color. I want a different nose. I wish I was taller. I wish I had more confidence. I wish that I could host dinner parties with ease like so-and-so. So we accept that part of ourselves. We accept that we wish we could change it. And then what happens when you say, okay, I can accept myself for wanting to change that? I get it. For me, I'll tell you what's happening in my body. I get this weight in my stomach. I have to accept that part of me. That's wildly uncomfortable. And you know why? Because that's us acknowledging that we'd like to change. And our bodies were built to keep us alive. Our bodies are only programmed to keep us alive long enough, keep us surviving, right? Not thriving. Our bodies want us to live. And anything that threatens that, any change is a threat. Because we don't know. Anything in the unknown, anything new is scary because we can't predict and we can't control what's happening. So as soon as we say, okay, I can accept this part of me that wants to change, our bodies, we've got so attached to the idea of, oh no, you can't accept that. Our bodies actually think we're gonna die because we are considering and holding this idea that we're okay with change. We're okay with doing things differently than we've always been done. And our bodies freak out a little bit. So it's our job to just keep going and hold ourselves with kindness and compassion for that. So for me, when I Accept part of myself I wish I could change. I'm trying to think of an example I can give you right now. What it was actually I was thinking of. I wish that business came easy to me. So, okay, so I accept that business doesn't come naturally to me like it comes to other people. I can accept that part of myself, yeah. And also, I can accept the part of myself that wishes it were different. I can accept the part of myself that's just fucking bad at business. And I can just let myself be without wishing I could change, because it is what is. What is. I can accept what is, and I can accept part of what is the part of me that wishes it were any different. And even when I get that weight in my stomach that feels uncomfortable, I can accept that. And when we accept that, when we let ourselves just be with the feeling, the energy releases. And then the beautiful thing happens. In release of that energy, we have so much more energy available to do what we actually want in life. Because at the moment, all our energy is like being wasted up and tied up in knots and burnt up in this wasted space of holding on to these things we wish we didn't want to change. And all our energy is trapped there. And then we have no energy left to actually go out and get what we want. So on the journey of your self-centered, level 1, self-acceptance. Reaching level 2, self-acceptance. And then let's talk next about self-confidence. You know what self-confidence is? Who knows? Anyone? This is fun. I'm having fun. Self-confidence is trust in yourself. You cannot have trust without confidence. You cannot have confidence without trust. You cannot have trust without truth. You cannot have truth without trust. Self-confidence comes from trust in yourself, from telling yourself the truth and being okay with what is, where you are right now. So if you truly want to be confident, the only way to do that is to learn how to trust yourself. Top is here. Hello, Top. Fun. Top, the doors are open to self-centered. So come on a journey with me. Talking about self-confidence right now. And how the true way to self-confidence is just spending time with yourself and trusting yourself. Trust yourself first. Taking a sip of water. What's next on my list of things to encounter within yourself? Self-love. Ooh, self-love. That's a big word right now, isn't it? You have to love yourself first before anyone else can love you. That's not entirely true. I don't exactly believe that. But what I do believe is, like I said before, if we don't take the time to show our bodies what these things feel like, our body doesn't know what it feels like. And then that thing we're aiming for always feels like a threat. It feels like an invader. It feels scary because our bodies have no experience of it. So if we want love, whatever level we want love in, we have to give ourselves, our bodies, the lived experience of what that feels like first. So no, you do not have to love yourself before you invite someone else in to love you. But you do have to just open the door a little bit. Just crack it open. Start. Take the first step towards what you want. And that is, here's a great exercise to do. Look yourself in the eye, right in the mirror. Take a couple deep breaths. This might be confronting, so please take time to do breaths first. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly or your lower abdomen, your womb space, if you have a womb. Everyone has the energy of a womb in their body, just below their belly, no matter what gender you are, no matter what organs you have. A couple deep breaths. This centers us into our body, because remember, we are not just a mind. We are a mind and a body. You look yourself right into your gorgeous little eyeball and you say, I love you. And it's okay if this is hard. because we don't take time to do this. Our body doesn't actually know what this feels like, and it's okay if our bodies throw a little tanty when we do this. What happens when you try to look at yourself in the mirror and before you even speak is your body, your insides are gonna like kind of throw out every reason that can't be true. But no, but my hair is too flat, my tummy is too big, my toes are too long. Isn't it absurd, the things we find to dislike about ourselves? Look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I love you. And for every reason that your subconscious throws up saying, no, it can't be true, it can't be true, it can't be true, you know what we do next? It's okay. We don't try to throw those thoughts away, because we're doing that, we're only making an enemy of ourselves. And that just wastes more energy that we could be using to get what we want in life. So when you look in the mirror and you say, I love you, looking right in your eyes, giving yourself tender compassion and kindness and love. I like to trace, can you see this? I like to trace my hands over my heart, giving myself tenderness and compassion. And when we stop fighting against all the things our subconscious throws up saying that can't be true. You don't get to love yourself right now, because remember last week you said you would do this thing and you didn't. And really you could be a lot better at calling your mom. And also like that, remember that time that like you lied to your friend, and throws up all these reasons why we can't possibly love ourselves. And all of those is your body trying to protect you. It's not absurd. Whatever. We're magical, absurd little creatures. Let it not make sense. All those are your body trying to protect you. It thinks it's doing the best it can. It's learned this somewhere. It's doing the best it can. So we don't make an enemy of it. That's just wasting more energy. We show ourselves love and compassion, and we say, okay, self, I hear you. I hear that for these specific reasons, you don't think we can love ourselves yet. That's okay. Just so you know, we will. And I can accept you. See, coming back to self-acceptance. I can accept you for feeling that right now. I can accept where you were when you created those beliefs. And I can also accept that this is our first step in changing it. I'm going to be still enough to listen to you, self. We're talking to ourselves here. I'm going to be still enough to listen to you, because I know this is the only way I'm going to get what I want. So self-love is the key to getting any other love you want in life. And it's okay if you're bad at it. It doesn't mean you're not going to get it from someone else. It just means it'll be a lot easier to accept. And I imagine too. Let me know how this is for you. When someone else says, I love you, you know why looking at our eyes in the mirror and saying, I love you? You know why that's so wildly confronting? Because when someone else says it to us, it's easier to deflect. We deflect love all the flipping time. When someone says, I love you to us, most of the time we just say, oh yeah, I love you too, back. We've let it become like a reflex, like a reaction, like a jerk, like a knee-jerk reaction. Love you too, love you, bye. Mwah. Love you, bye. Oh, I love you so much, love you, bye. Are we letting those words carry any meaning? That's why looking ourselves in the eye in the mirror is so wildly uncomfortable, and hearing I love you from someone else isn't, because it's easier to ignore. It's easier to brush off the message because we've let the words become a little bit meaningless, because they're just words. One of my favorite movies I used to watch with my sister when we were teenagers is called Love and Sex. And it's about these two people who like they start dating and then they break up, and then one of them's in a partnership and the other's not, and they just like dance around each other when clearly they're perfect for each other, but they just can't make it work. And they're having this conversation. I got so many quotes from this. I should watch this movie again. One of my favorite quotes is like they're talking about love, and they're talking about this concept like, am I truly worthy of love? Like, why, if I was worthy of love, why am I not in a relationship yet? And the guy says, don't worry, like weirdos and creeps are single because they're weird and creepy. People like us are single because of bad timing. I love that so much. That was a tangent. I just had to share. And the other quote I love is that, like, we've let the words I love you become meaningless. You might as well just say cheese sandwich. So my sister and I would decide for a while when we were teenagers saying cheese sandwich you. Like, it doesn't actually matter what words we use. So now I'm in the habit with my husband to say, when one of us says I love you, we stop. I try not to. I don't always succeed at this because I'm human. And I'm okay with that. I've accepted myself for that. I don't get everything right all the time. I often don't get anything right at all. That's not true. That's not a true statement. Who's deciding what's right here? Okay, sorry. I'm coming back. So when someone says I love you to me, a family member, my partner, a friend, my kids, when someone says I love you, I stop. I take a breath. I say thank you. I give my system a chance to receive it. And then once I've received it, once my body feels love, then I can say I love you back. But the reason saying I love you to ourselves in the mirror, looking right in our eyes, is so confronting, and hearing I love you from someone else isn't, is because when we're looking at ourselves in the mirror, there's no distractions. It's new to us. We've created a new path. So we can't just like knee-jerk react back to it. So it's not that saying I love you to ourselves is any harder to hear than saying I love you from someone else. It's just that we've habituated hearing I love you from someone else. So if you really want to, it's possible. Next time someone says I love you, it's okay if you fall into the knee-jerk reaction. I love you too. Love you, bye. Stop. One hand on your chest, two hands if you need to. Receive it. Feel it in your body. Say, oh, they love me. I can feel that. And it's okay if that's wildly uncomfortable. Totally okay. We don't get anywhere by making an enemy out of ourselves and judging ourselves for everything in our system that has kept us alive this far. Every little habit and pattern and trick and thing we've picked up along the way served us at some point. And we never, ever, ever go back in time and judge ourselves for anything that we learned on purpose for a reason. There's a helicopter outside. I hope it's not too loud for you guys. Sometimes they hover right over my house, so hopefully this one keeps moving on. Oh well, if they get too loud, I'll just sit here and I'll pour love at you through the screen without words, so that you can have this lived experience of what it feels like to be so deeply held by another person. I'm really good at it. And that's why self-centered, this 3-month journey with me, is different. You don't get any work to do on your own that I haven't led you through. You get held in this space. So it's the deepest work you can imagine. And it's also the most held, which makes it both hard and easy at the same time. I just noticed it's 11:11 and there's a truck backing up. Noisy. I'm just going to soak in the magic of 11:11 right now. Can I take a screenshot while I'm doing this? No, I don't want to hang up the call by accident. Let's just absorb 11:11. You can get everything you want all on your own. You don't need to wait for anyone else. You have everything you need already inside yourself. A note on wanting. Let's go there next. And I know that I say wanting a lot, and probably I would like to get better at this. I'm not going to judge myself for not being great at it yet, but I'd like to do better. So there's 2 ways to phrase this. So I want this kind of relationship. I want this. I don't know what I want. I want this. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want this. I want that. I don't want. The problem with using the word want is that it comes from a place of lack. If we want something, think of something you want right now. I want a sip of water. Let's do that. I wanted a sip of water because I was feeling thirsty, which means there is a lack of moisture in my body. It's a really simple example, but it's actually really perfect. I want implies lack. And the energy of lack is really restrictive, constrictive, limiting. And what we'd love to shift to instead, what I would love to shift to instead. And that's fine. Like, look, we do have needs. Like, I actually need water to survive. So it's okay in the sense of, hold on, I want a sip of water. That's okay. It's not a bad thing. But, actually, another thing I like to do is stop using the word but, because it negates everything we've already said. So what I like to do instead is shift to the word and. So it's okay to use want, the word want, to fulfill our needs so that we can stay alive. And to claim our desires. So when we shift to using the word desire, desire doesn't come from a lack. Desire isn't a limiting kind of restriction of satisfying a base need to survive. Desire is expansive. So I desire to have. Like, you know, like in this example with I want water. I'm thirsty. I want water. I need water to survive. Yeah. I desire, you know what I desire? I desire a like wine glass, like a goblet, a crystal goblet with like sparkling water and lime and cucumber in it and mint. It's not just satisfying a base need. That's giving myself something I desire, something that turns me on. And that energy, that's expansive, that grows. And one more note on this, whether you use the word want, whether you use the word desire. And I do think we have to hold words a little bit carefully here because language is meant to move with us and words only have the power we give to them. So yes, be conscious, use words wisely, and also know that they only have power if you give it to them anyhow. So if I keep slipping up using the word want, I'm going to say, okay, I'll use want, but I mean desire. But actually, that's not my truth right now. My truth right now is when I use the word want, it's like a base level need. When I use the word desire, it turns me on. Like, yes, I desire that. And claiming what we desire is a beautiful way of accepting that we're worthy of getting our desires. I'll go to next. Self-worth is next. One more word on wanting and desiring, whatever word you want to use. We can't possibly know what we want. I'm going to just use the word want because otherwise I'm going to keep tripping myself up and we'll get nowhere. There is no actual surefire, guaranteed way for us to know what we want because we've never had this life before. We get no trial runs. We get no practice. No one in the world has ever had our life with our past and our future and our history and our connections and our ideas and our, style and our personality. And no one's ever had that before. The current situation in the world. There has never been anyone like us, and there never will be anyone like us again who's living in this exact time. So therefore, it's impossible to know what we want because we get no practice at it. You can only know what you want if you have something to compare it to say, oh yeah, like let's say we go to the beach one day and we can track like the sun and we're like, okay, I know that I want to bring shade down with me because I know last time it was too hot and I got sunburnt. So my solution to that is putting shade over myself. But as we go through life, our bigger wants, our bigger desires, what kind of relationship we want, there's no way to actually know because there's no way to trial run it. We can't say, oh yeah. We can a little bit, like in the past, like maybe I had a relationship with this kind of person. I could see how that did work and I see how that didn't work. But we change as we go through time. So we're never that same person again. So even if we can like trial run it a little bit, like we never get the chance to do it over. So because of that, there is actually no way, no foolproof way to know what we want. And waiting to get what we want until we can get clear, like so often like, well, I don't know what I want. Like I don't know exactly, like I don't know what kind of relationship I want. That's fine. I don't know what kind of like where I see myself in 10 years. That's fine. Because quite often when we do, we create this like, this big goal and it's way up here, but we're not up here yet. We're down here. You can only ever be where you are. So when I'm down here and I'm looking at this goal up here, it's so far away. How the flip do I get there? How do I close the gap between the two. And then all that does is make us stress out because the distance is too great. And we're like, I don't fucking know how to do that. So it actually pushes it farther away, because when we're locked in stress, our body's like, we can't, we're less creative. Like, the harder we hold on to what we want. And Emma, I see your comment here. If you know what you want, you won't get it. I both agree and disagree. I'm gonna come back to that. Let me finish this train of thought first. Choo choo. Look, the more I spend time out in public in life, the more I'm kind of convinced all I'm doing is convincing people how crazy I am. So let's go with it. So when we hold on to this big idea of what we want, it's just like creating stress in our bodies, which pushes the answer further and further away from us. So yes, I do like this a lot, Emmeline. If you know what you want, you won't get it. And I do think that's true. But what we can know what we want instead, when that's a big thing and it causes stress in our systems and we push it far away, but we can know what we want right now. You can get what you want right now. For example, I'm feeling thirsty. I know I want a sip of water. I got it. I did it. And it gets to be that easy. And every little step like that. So when we do that, when we claim what we want in such a small way that we can't fail at it, we're just growing our trust in ourselves. Look, I said I wanted a sip of water, and then I did it. Go me. And it builds trust in ourselves. It gives ourselves the lived experience of knowing what we want and getting what we want. And in that way, we're only ever like taking a good, like a small feel-good step at a time. And when you do that, next feel-good step. Okay, I can start, like, we start getting to see, like, okay, I can't say everything I want, but I know that, like, I want to live by the beach. Okay, I'm getting closer. Okay, live by the beach. Okay, I want this kind of relationship. And all of a sudden, we just take one feel-good step at a time. And then we look around us at one point and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I did it. This is like, I know I couldn't name it at the time, but I am exactly where I wanted to be. And it's a little bit like magic. We are magical creatures. There is so much magic around us. So shift your wants into desires whenever possible. Emmeline says the feel-good step is just a dance on the spot with ourselves. What a fun way to go through life. Like, that makes me picture like doing the cha-cha through life. Imagine dancing through life. Doesn't that sound way more fun than like a steady march through life? Yeah, I like that. You're self-centered. Give yourself the freedom to get what you desire in life. Because people that get what they desire in life first have to accept that they are worthy of getting their desires. And I guarantee you there is part of you that thinks you're not worthy of your desires if you don't have them yet. If you don't have what you desire yet, there is going to be part of you that thinks you're not worthy of it yet. And that's okay. So we learn to love that part of ourselves, however we can, and learn to accept that part of ourselves. And we look for information outside of ourselves because it gives us power, like taking action towards getting what we want. And we get still enough to listen. And we say, yes, I'm listening, body. You show me. No one else out here has the answers. I have the answers inside myself, and we get still enough to listen. And you are innately worthy. We are all innately worthy. There's nothing you need to do. There's no specific way you need to be. We release ourselves from logic. You are innately worthy. So the way our life is set up right now, and the way the system is set up, this culture that we've created, because we are all joined, and blaming someone outside of ourselves for the way the world is right now is just another way of pushing it farther and farther away, and like blame shifting it. Like, we've created it. We're all here living on this planet. We've created this way of living together because at a time it served us. everything is as it is right now because that served us, because that's how we learned to live, to survive. I mean, it was probably our best chance at the time. Everyone is only ever making their own best choice at any one time. So we thought we were doing the best we could when we tried to center productivity, when we tried to say, oh no, emotions, you know what? Emotions stink, like emotions hurt. That sucks. I don't want to feel that anymore. Let's not. Here's an idea. What if we just don't leave time for our emotions and we keep busy? How great is that? So this is my journey on how we got where we are right now. How great would it be if we could just bypass our emotions? And look, when I bypass them, they're just gone. And then I can be more productive with my day because I haven't wasted 15 minutes crying because I feel uncomfortable in this situation because someone used a stern voice with me. What if we just step over our emotions so that we can have longer work days and make more money and do this? Like, wow. And what we've learned now, so we can only ever do the best that we can do. You can't do better than your best. It's actually impossible. Everyone is only ever doing the best they can. So, what we know now, the best that we know right now, is that actually we need our emotions. We need people to feel us. We need to feel ourselves. We need our emotions. Our emotions are guides. They only ever last 90 seconds. And they're a physical sensation. And then they get released. And then they're gone. And we're left with a message. But when we don't release them, when we trap them in our systems, we trap that stress down inside us somewhere. And then all of our energy is tied up and knotted up. So we don't have actually energy to get what we want in life because all our energy is tied up here. So we thought that we were actually doing the best we could when we decided, hey, what if we just don't feel our emotions? Let's try that. Cool. Yeah, I left them a message. So your emotions are all just here to leave you a message, to guide you. Our emotions and our feelings guide us through life. They only ever last 90 seconds. There'll be a sensation in your body. And when we can feel them. And anything after that, like I know you're saying like, yeah, but I remember one time I felt anger the whole day. Yeah, because it's just a story we get stuck in. So something happens, you feel angry. When we don't take the time to just feel that anger, label where it is in the body, like, oh, I feel angry. I feel this heat between my shoulder blades and this weight in my forehead. And I feel like I could scream. I'm so angry. When we just don't okay, accept ourselves for that. Or even if we do, the possibility always exists that we're going to tell ourselves a story again. Like, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe so-and-so left the knife on the counter, so I cut myself again. And then even if we take the 90 seconds to feel that anger, the story just, if we fall into the story again, like, can't believe they did that, 90 seconds starts again. So it's totally possible if we don't release our feelings to just get we kick off a loop of feeling, story, feels again, because our bodies don't actually know what's actually happening and what's just happening because we're telling ourselves a story. So by telling ourselves a story, we're not getting still enough to listen to what the actual message is. So when we can focus on our feelings just as a sensation, as they are in our bodies, not arguing with what our reality is. Oh, when you said that, I felt like my palms got a little bit sweaty. And I felt a weight in my stomach. I feel nervous. I feel like maybe you're mad at me, or maybe I could have done better. And when we just focus on the sensation of that feeling, and it's like, oh, okay. So the message I'm receiving here is, I let you down because I didn't express my needs to you. That's the message. For me, one thing that always comes up is, this is my personal trigger. And I saw a great quote. Where's that book? What's over there? I saw a great quote from Byron Katie the other day about appreciation. So for me, my constant trigger is feeling unappreciated. But I know that when and this is the process I'm in right now, I don't have the answer to this yet. A beautiful friend was helping me uncover this. So when I feel unappreciated, my next mission is to feel where that is in my body, because I know it's not actually about being unappreciated. That's just the trigger. That's just the flag my system's setting up, like, hey, there's something else here to pay attention to. So when I can get in touch with that feeling and pay attention, like, okay, unappreciation feels like this in my body. Because what's happening right now is I don't notice what's in my body. I start feeling unappreciated, and then I blow up because I'm feeling angry and everything that being unappreciated triggers in my system. And then after a couple days, I'm finding out the message like, oh, it wasn't about feeling unappreciated about doing the dishes. It was because I wasn't letting myself get this desire that I have. So that's my message from it. That's a constant message for me. So the message is always there. It's not about whatever it is. It's not about the other person. It's only ever about ourselves. So our feelings just leave us messages. So back to self-centered. Those are all just aspects of ourselves. Self-centered is a 3-month journey of growth. I help women free themselves, to trust themselves, to get the kind of relationships they desire. Whether you're currently in a long-term relationship or you're calling in a long-term relationship, whether you're opening a monogamous relationship, whether you're already in an open relationship and have been, whatever you desire, whatever kind of relationship you desire, there is no information that's going to get it for you. The only thing that's going to get it for you is slowing down and learning how to trust yourself. I have a 3-brain system I use. So here's the tools I use. I have a 3-brain system where because remember, let's say at the start, we're not just a mind. We're not just a mind. We're not just a body. We have both. We're a mind and a body. We have this whole system we can listen to. And we don't alienate any to make space just for the other. So I have a 3-brain system that I use. It's my mind, my heart, and my pussy or my turn on. My heat, my fire, my creativity, my sense of connection, my love, my kindness and my compassion, and my mind, my intelligence, my ability to think of things and create actions for myself. So I listen to all 3, and sometimes it shows up as one will be the loudest, and I'll listen to that. And before I actually listen to any of them, I check in and say, are you stuck in fear right now? And I check, because sometimes the loudest voice is one of fear. And we don't want to lead ourselves from a place of fear. We're done doing that. So when we lead ourselves, okay, check in, all 3 spots. And something really cool happened just 2 or 3 days ago. So I had, for the first time ever, all 3 centers catch fire. I had an idea I thought of. I'm like, yes, this is it. All 3 aligned and saying, yes, this is the way forward. So I listened and I did that thing right then and there. I didn't wait at all. Most of the time, I just listened to one of them, whichever one's loudest, making sure it's not coming from a place of fear. So this is what I will teach you to do. I will show you how to access the information inside of yourself to get the kind of relationship you desire. Moving past what we think we should desire, moving past the way that, look, it's kind of an easy way. And I get it. And again, this is the way we've built our lives. We look at what everyone else is doing and then we decide what we want. And that's easier. And it's not a bad path. It's not a bad thing to do at all. But following the path that works for someone else, myself included, can't follow my path, how to follow your path. Following the path set out by someone else will get you a good life. For sure, it will get you a good relationship. It is not a bad way to do life at all. And if you want a great relationship, you have to go your own way. You have to, because your path is unique to you. It doesn't look like anyone else's. There is no one else who has the specific experiences that you have in your life. Nobody else. So if you want great, you have to go your own way. And the only person that can do that is you. So we get rid of the shoulds and we tap into our creativity and say, okay, we free ourselves from the expectations. And a lot of the times we hold ourselves with compassion for grieving that we don't get to just follow the path set out by everyone else. Oh my God, wouldn't that be so much easier? But you'll know, likely, if you're here, you know already, following the path set out by other people doesn't work for you. It worked for a long time, and now maybe you're starting to feel stuck, and you can feel it like this weight in your chest and this weight in your stomach and this like dimming down of desire, like everything is just sucking into this smaller and smaller point, and you're starting to feel maybe a little bit trapped. The only way to free yourself is to free yourself by doing life your way. So look, I work with women on their relationships. Next year, I'm continuing my studies, so I can work with couples in relationship, which is great work, but it's not necessary. You get to create the kind of relationship that works for you all on your own. You can do that for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you, whatever kind of relationship you want. And because, there's fluff flowing from my face, because one of my best friends didn't know how strong of a belief I held in this. I think it's worth saying again and again and again. And I kind of wish I'd said it at the beginning of this video. I'll do a separate post for this. I don't know what kind of relationship you should be in. I don't. I hold no attachment. I do not know whether you should leave your current relationship. I do not know whether you should stay in it. I do not know what kind of partner you should look for. I don't know whether you should be monogamous or non-monogamous or polyamorous. I don't know whether you're bi or pan or straight or heteronormative, or that's not a relationship type, that's more to do with genders. We'll roll with it. I don't know that either. There's no way for me to know. Only you know. I don't care either. I don't know whether you should have kids. I don't know anything. Only you do. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It affects me not at all. And I think this is so important to remember when you come into work with me. It's a little bit scary. I don't have the answers for you. You have the answers for you. All I do is create the space for you to stay still enough to find your answers. And I'm going to hold you with kindness and compassion until you can hold yourself with kindness and compassion. I'm going to push you a little bit, but not past your comfort zone. We're going to stretch right up against the bound of your comfort zone. Like if this is the edge, we're going to like push it. I'm going to push it gently. And then I'm going to read when to back off. Say, okay, come back in a second. And I'm going to know when to like just push, like just bend it a little bit more. If I could like bend the outside, like let's do this instead. So this is the boundary. I'm loving this so much. So this is your boundary, right? So you have this little zone where you're comfortable. Look, you can do like all my genius all at once. This should have been a goddamn masterclass. So your zone of comfort, right? I'm tired of hearing people say the only way forward is to take action. Even if you're scared, take action, go, go, go. And yes, that's incredibly healing. But the danger we risk when we do that is that we push ourselves too far out of our zone. And then we unstabilize ourselves so much that we kind of like we end up going backwards. So what we want to do instead, like you get to stay in your window of tolerance. You get to stay in your system zone. But we just expand it slowly. We expand your zone slowly so you can stay in it. We don't want you way out here. You don't go from in here. This is your little zone of comfort. Where can I do this so you can still see my face? This is your little zone of comfort. If you try to jump out here, your system's gonna go haywire. You're gonna say, nope, we're not safe. Because your system actually thinks you're going to die if you jump right out of here. What we want to do instead is keep you in your zone of comfort, keep your nervous system resourced, which you can do for yourself. I can teach you how. And then we just want to like stretch it. So I'm going to read. When you work with me, I read where your zone is. Using knowledge from you. I don't know where your zone is. You do. I just learned how to read the signs and the language you're speaking to show me that. That's a language I speak. So we don't crack it and we don't break it and we don't shatter it and we don't like jump right over it. We bend it. So this is your boundary. So this is the border of your whole circle of zone, right? And we just like, I learn how to press just to stretch it, and then we like increase it a little bit. That's how we grow. Everything that grows does so slowly over time. Nothing grows by like, meh. Even if some days we wake up and we feel like our kids are that much taller, like it's still like between when they were born and when they're a full-grown adult, it's pretty like, you know, might be a little bit like this, but they don't go from here to here. They go from here to like here. Everything that grows does so slowly over time. And that's why a 3-month container where we're working together one-on-one every week is your best chance to grow, because it's slow, steady pressure held over time. And we do it in a way that feels good, because then you're more likely to stick with it. You're not showing up in pain every week. You're not going to do that. Your body's not dumb. Your body's really intelligent, and it's not going to keep showing up for things that are painful. We can bring ourselves to the things that are painful, and then we learn to hold ourselves with kindness and compassion so they get less painful. And look, there is pain involved. Of course there is. Of course there is. Remember growing pains? You know, like, of course there's pain, but, no but, and of course there's pain. And also we learn how to resource. We learn how worthy we are of pleasure, innately worthy of pleasure. We don't have to earn it. We learn how to bring ourselves the feel goods. So we always return to ourselves with kindness and compassion, so that even when it hurts, we know how to let it feel good too. And in this way, we can pendulate so we can stay longer. This is my whole analogy for life. Again, you're getting everything here. This is amazing. I can't wait. I'm going to watch this back and be like, yes, go Cara, go Cara, go. So my theory for life. There's 2 ways to get into the ocean or the lake or the pool or whatever it is. There's 2 ways to get into a cold body of water. And I'm not talking about the like Wim Hof ice bath method. I'm just talking about going for a swim. There's 2 ways. You can run in and jump in, head first, dive in, charge, go forward. And you know what happens? Who else has seen this happen? When you do that, you get out really quick, right? Because you've given your body no chance to catch up, no chance to acclimatize. Acclimatize? Acclimatize? You've given your body no chance to acclimatize. So if you go in fast, you get out fast. If you go slowly, so if you take your time, like quite often I'll go down to the beach with my family and I'm like just tiptoe my way into the water, and you know, my husband will be all the way in and I'll still be at my hips. And then he'll float on his back for a few minutes and I'll go up to my belly button. And he maybe does some handstands or throws our kids around for a while, and I'm up to like here. And, just like, oh, and when a wave comes, I like jump and hold my arms up in the air so I don't have to feel it. And then he gets out. Because he's done. He's had his experience. Thank you, that was fun. I'm out. I'm still getting in. And then I dive in whenever I'm ready. When the ocean invites me in, because the ocean speaks to me so deeply. And whenever I'm ready, I've taken my time. I've slowly let my system stretch and grow into this space. And then I dive in. And then you know what happens? I get to stay in as long as I want, as long as I desire. I choose when I get out. I choose where I belong, how long I want to be there, who else gets to be there with me, how welcome I feel. I choose. And when we give our systems a chance to grow with us and we go into the ocean slowly, giving our bodies a time to let it feel good, to catch up, to grow slowly, we get to stay in as long as we want. I'm floating on my back, enjoying the water, and my husband's ready to leave the beach. He's come in, he's had his fun, he's ready to go, which is fine. It's not bad. There's no bad here. It's all good. And depends what we want. Do we want to, like, my husband's the kind of person where he wants to get as many different experiences out of life as possible. That's him. He's like, yes, I want to do this. Yes to this. Yes to this. Yes to this. I'm like, I want my thing. I want my one thing, and I want to stay in it for a long time. And yes, for me, that one thing, and I get that this feels like a paradox. All the best answers are paradoxes, by the way. So I'm non-monogamous. So my one thing is a long-term marriage, and also the freedom to follow my sexuality where it leads me. Those aren't separate to me. Those are all within my one container of what I want for my life. It is not a contradiction. We've let it be a contradiction. So this, I didn't actually finish my thought before on what kind of relationship you should be in. I don't know, and I truly don't care. So here's the important thing. Even though I'm personally non-monogamous, and a lot of people are coming to me because they're like interested or curious or touched by it in some way, I hold no intention for what kind of relationship you should be in. I truly do not care. So people hear, and my closest friends hear, and they know I'm non-monogamous, and they're like, okay, but like, and they listen to all the things I like about non-monogamy, and they say, yeah, but if that's not true for me, if I just want to be monogamous, am I saying no to those things that you just listed for non-monogamy? No, of course not. Never. Not if that's your truth. No. You get to choose whatever kind of relationship you want to be in. And at the moment, here's why I think we need to create our own relationships. At the moment, we are all, some of us more than others, and I'll touch on that in a moment. This is a long chat. I'm gonna need to go soon because I'm gonna have to pee. I wasn't planning on this being so long, but I'm liking this so much. So at the moment, most of us, some more than others, are pushed into this forced monogamy. There is only one kind of relationship that we are raised and trained into being. And that's when, because we're following the path, that's when we get to a good life. And that doesn't look, monogamy is a fashion trend, truly. It doesn't matter if it's been, decades of a fashion trend. Any fashion trend is popular for a reason. Like, it looks great on some people, but it doesn't fit everyone. So my only problem with monogamy is that it's sold as the only option. That's it. That's my only problem with monogamy. It's a great option. It works for a lot of people. But when we're taught this idea that it's the only option we have, it's not going to fit everyone. And when you are trying to fit yourself in the sweater that's itchy and too small, and a current style that just doesn't fit you, you're going to be wildly uncomfortable for a really long time. Maybe you're meant to wear a cardigan instead of a jumper. Do you use the word jumper instead of a hoodie? Does everyone use the word hoodie? A sweater. I've lived in Australia so long, I've totally lost touch with what words are American and what words are Australian. So I end up with this weird mismatch, and hopefully you can understand me. You end up in this piece of clothing that doesn't fit you, and you put something else on, you're like, oh my gosh, I never even noticed I was uncomfortable because I thought everyone was like this. And then we start tuning in and listening to ourselves, and we pick up the subtleties of, oh, this feels good here, but it doesn't feel good here, and I didn't even know that was an option. And here's another thing about forced relationship styles. I think that people who are in relationships already that are outside the cultural norm have a higher sense of relationship satisfaction because automatically they've had to go against what they think they should do. They're already outside the box. So because they're already out there, they have so much more freedom to create the kind of relationship that works for them. Therefore, they have higher relationship satisfaction. I have no numbers on that. That's not a statistic. I feel like it's true. I feel like I've seen it somewhere, but I don't have a link I can show you. But I feel like, and I'm not saying it's easy for them, and I'm definitely not trying to negate or undermine or something else, the struggle that they definitely had to go through to get accepted in the kind of relationship they want. But because of that journey they've had to march or dance down or whatever, the hardships and the joy, they get to, as a rule, as a baseline, create the kind of relationship that works for them. And again, that's not a definite rule. Like, it's not guaranteed, but I do think that anyone who's outside of what's popular or common in our culture already has a higher chance of creating the kind of life and relationship that works for them, because they're already coloring outside their lines, so they might as well just create what works for them. So my only issue with monogamy is that it's the only option sold to us, and it's not the only option available. And a lot of people have figured that out a heck of a lot sooner than I have. I didn't figure that for a really long time. So I hold no intention for what kind of relationship you should be in. I do not give you advice on what kind of relationship you should be in. Partly because I truly don't care. And please know when I say that I don't care what kind of relationship you should be in, it doesn't mean I don't care about you. When you come in to work with me, here's what's happening in my field. I am falling in love with everyone that comes to work with me. Everyone that shows up in space for me, it's taking about 5 sessions. But I find after that long, so apparently it takes me 5 hours to fall in love right now. I'm willing to keep testing this. I'm falling in love, and let that be the energy that you are held in a space where you are loved. Held in a space that feels good for your optimum growth. Everything grows better in love. Have you seen the studies on plants? It's so true. We can change the molecular structure of water by saying nice things to a glass of water. I don't have a link for that study, but you can Google it. Everything grows better in love. So the container I hold is, I don't know what kind of relationship you should be in. There's not one that's better than any other. I just hold space for you to figure out what works for you. Past judgment. Past what we think we should do. Not letting anyone else make the decisions for you any longer. This is a space of self-trust. Trust yourself first. You're not learning to trust me. If you're working with me, you trust me already. You're learning to trust you. And that's the journey I've been on. People who are coming to work with me already can feel that. They're coming and like, I can feel that. You have what I want, and that is trust. I can see it. I can feel it. How did you do it? Show me. And I'll show you. And it's not work I hand you that you can do on your own. It is a held space. My whole presence. My entire attention. Focused on you. That's all we need to grow. I give that to you so that you can give that to yourself. So if you are ready, and look, every journey of growth starts when we become a little bit tired of our own shit, when we can truly accept that we are the only ones that are going to change anything for us, and we can accept that the only way to get anywhere in the world, whether we know where we're going or not, the only way to get anywhere is to just take one feel-good step at a time. No one else can step for you. One feel-good step at a time. Get comfortable with what you want, what you desire, and figure it out. What's so important to you that you're committed to figuring out no matter what it takes? I can help you do that. So, self-centered, doors are open now. I will add a comment into this, or actually go to my profile. There you go. Go to my profile, find the link. You can read, so there's 12 sessions. You can read the whole map, the scope of the journey, these tools that are based in Taoism and neuroscience. It is the most beautiful, beautiful blend of old meets new. And the neuroscience now is backing up things that Tantra and Taoism have been doing for centuries. And it's so flipping beautiful to see these things that we're intuitively doing, backing up by science, what truly is the best of both worlds. It's our logic combined with our intuition, because it's not separate. We're a whole, both end. We get to use logic, we get to use information, we get to do that for sure. And also we get to trust our intuition and learn how to listen to our bodies, and we do both, and then it aligns, and it's like this whole beautiful puzzle piece. So you can go onto my website, or whatever you want to call it, my link, and read the page, all 12 sessions, all the little parts of you we're going to heal. I want to go peace. I want to finish this, but I have to tell you more. This is all of everything, all in one place. So when I started this own, I've been through all this myself. I recognized a year and a half ago that I didn't trust myself. No, maybe 2 years ago that I didn't trust myself. And it was the most painful realization. Because I like myself. Like, oh my God, you're 4 years old and you don't trust yourself? And the guilt and the shame around that was like, oh my God, there's no reason. I have a great life. There was no reason for me not to trust myself. But it was there, and you can't argue with what is. So I had to feel it. Okay, I don't trust myself. And the beautiful thing about recognizing that you don't trust yourself is that it's a really simple solution. All the best solutions are really simple. The path to trusting yourself, really simply, you just do what you say you're going to do. And we know now that doesn't have to feel bad. We get to be kind to ourselves. We get to treat ourselves with compassion. So if the path to doing what we say we're going to do is the way we trust ourselves, we set ourselves up for success. We do not set ourselves up for failure. We say, okay, I'm going to learn to trust myself. I am worthy of trusting myself. I can do everything. And I'm going to set myself up for success. So you know what that looks like? I'm only going to commit myself to things that I know I'm going to do. I'm going to break everything up into a small enough step that I'm not going to fail. Look, I watched the Banff Film Festival one year, and there's this woman named Roz Savage, who was the first woman to row a boat across the Atlantic. First woman to do it on her own. And she said in the documentary, she's like, I never thought I'd do anything amazing with my life. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, duh. Your name is Roz fucking Savage. Of course you were going to do something amazing. But she realized, it just came and she's like, oh, I can't possibly do that. She never rode boats like that. She wasn't fit at the time. She didn't have the funds, all these reasons not to do something. But I remember her saying, this was 10 years ago I saw this. I remember her saying, but I started breaking everything up into little pieces. And then I realized, oh, I can do that. What's the next step you need to take? Oh, I can do that. I can read a book about sailing. Yeah. Oh, I ran into that person last week who's done something similar. I'm going to talk to them. I can do that. And that's how we build trust in ourselves. We don't get to just jump in and stress out our nervous systems so we crash. And then we fall in a heap of guilt and shame because we've been told we have to do it that way. No pain, no gain. Bullshit. I don't know how Instagram feels about me using so many swear words on a live, but whatever. We get to choose. We get to take the power to trust ourselves, and we get to do it in a way that feels good. because the only way to grow is to stay consistently with something over time. And we're much more likely to do that if something feels good, and we get to make the choice. We get to take our power back, and we get to say, right, how do I want to do this? One feel-good step at a time. And if you don't know how, if you find something you want to do and you don't know how to do that, break it into smaller pieces. What's the next right step? And then you build trust in yourself over time. So back to my journey and how this work helped me get through it. And it was showing up in my life in all sorts of painful ways. You can go through my Instagram and read about it. I won't use your time here doing that. I was starting to freeze. I had truly, truly, truly an amazing life. Everything I ever wanted. And still I started to freeze. And that was because I didn't trust myself. It was too painful for me to wear the consequences of making my own choices through life, because I was not willing to take the responsibility for if I got it wrong. But then I realized, like, oh, nobody else actually knows what they're doing either. They just do it anyhow. And then I uncovered this path of Taoism mixed with neuroscience. And on the very first day of this program this year, one of my teachers said something that shook me, something that made me cry for days. And this isn't a direct quote, but it was along the lines of, what parts of your body what parts of you, of your personality, are actually you and your personality, and what parts are just trauma responses? Because I know I have trauma. I know that everyone has trauma in their bodies, and I'm not going to heal your trauma. That's not what this is. This is trauma informed. I did it for myself. So that little statement sent me into a tailspin, because I was in tears for days. I like myself. Maybe not all of me. Maybe there's parts of me that I would shift. But what if, there's two parts to this. What if in committing to grow, I change myself so much that I don't like myself anymore? That's a very real fear. And our body's programmed to survive. So any change is a threat to that. And also the path to true growth and true healing, and the true path to getting our desires met in this world, is looking inside ourselves. And I certainly, I'm going to go ahead and guess that all of this is true for all of us. Just a guess, just a hunch. It's my intuition. I certainly had places inside myself that I was not willing to look because I knew it was going to be too painful. I can't do that. I don't want to look there. What if I don't like myself? What if I push myself so hard I end up breaking something and then I become unrecognizable? That's terrifying. And here's how we do it. One feel-good step at a time. Remembering to bring ourselves back into pleasure. Remembering to resource so that we don't break ourselves. We get to know one piece of ourselves slowly at a time. We shine a light into all corners of ourselves slowly and with pleasure, so that we don't short circuit our system. There are parts of ourselves that we are truly terrified of looking at, so we don't want to see it. We don't want to accept and see the parts of ourselves that are ugly. The judgments we have on other people that actually have a home inside of ourselves too. One more cool thing, one more little story to share, and then I will wrap this up. And I'll give you a prize for making it this far. The whole thing is a prize. This whole thing is a gift. So one of the journeys I went on was, sorry, I just got distracted by a bird in the sky. One of the journeys I went on was to meet all of my shadows. And I was guided in doing this. And in a way, I guide you to this slowly too, but I don't guide you to meet all of them at once. I've done, this journey that I'm going to take you on over 3 months. I did this over a year and a half. So I've gone 4 or 5 times as deep. 5 or 6 times as deep. So that's why. So I don't bring you as deep as I've gone myself. I go a couple levels up. So one of my things, I was meeting all of my shadows at once. I might guide you to meet one of your shadows at a time. Like, I just noticed that leaf behind me. It keeps like cropping up and like looking like an ear or something. So I met all my shadows at once and I invited them out into the light. And they all came, like my greed, my brattiness. I know there's a part of me that's a brat. I accept her. My anger, my laziness, my judgmental self, my bitchiness, my, how many shadows do you want me to name here? I have them all. My part of me that's stuck in being a victim. Part of me that's stuck in being a villain. Part of me that's stuck in being a hero. Like, they're all just planets, they're all just shadows. So they all, one by one, and one was like slimy and mucky and felt bad, and they're all shadows, and one's so dark you can't even see it, it's just blackness. And one was really beautiful, but it was kind of beauty that can feel turn sour. So they all march out, and there's one more shadow left. There's one more shadow left in a cave, and it is big. And I'm like, nope, tapping out. That one I can't let that one out. It's too big, too scary. I can't look there. It was like this big rock creature, like a molten lava solidified into this big hulky, like a big boulder with arms. It was so angry. Can't let that one out. He's too big. And in a separate journey, I recognize that everything's about perspective. Just like we see a tree on the horizon and it looks so small, and then we get up close to it and it's so big. When we do it vice versa, it goes the other way. So this part of me, I suddenly realized it's only big because I'm keeping it in a small space. Because I'm keeping this part of myself I'm not ready to see, because I'm keeping it trapped. It feels big and it feels terrifying. And as soon as I switched that perspective, I started laughing out loud because of this thing that I thought was so big, and like this big rock creature of anger. It like finally came toddling out of this door, and it was like fucking that big. It was like a goddamn meatball. a pebble. And I thought it was a boulder. So when we can shift our perspective, we recognize like, oh, these things that we were terrified to look at, they're just things. And they feel so big, but they only feel big because we're keeping them trapped in such a small space. When we let them out, they get smaller because they're out in the whole wide world. And some of them even disappear on their own, but we don't hold them to that. We don't push them out. We don't exile them. We accept and love all parts of ourselves. So that's the journey. Self-centered. This is a wild ride of a... oh my God, an hour. I did not plan to talk for an hour.